If you've ever crossed the Monongahela River in Pittsburgh, you've seen them. Two stone piers standing in the water, holding up nothing. But in 1905, those piers carried a giant steel bridge, and trains thundered across it, high above the river. This is the story of a railroad that a city completely erased, and why its ghost is still hiding in plain sight. Picture Pittsburgh at the turn of the century. Steel, glass, and coal, the smoky, beating heart of American industry. Nearly every pound of it moved on one railroad, the mighty Pennsylvania. And the Pennsylvania charged whatever it pleased. Enter George Gould, heir to one of America's great railroad fortunes, chasing his father's dream of an empire stretching coast to coast. There was one gap in his map: Pittsburgh. And the Pennsylvania owned every good route into town. Everything was taken. So Gould's railroad would come the hard way, straight through some of the roughest hill country in western Pennsylvania. In 1901, his crews started carving 60 miles of brand-new railroad toward the city, one blasted cut at a time. Old railroaders said the line was built on stilts and in cellars. It was almost never on solid ground. The digging fell to immigrant labourers, Italian, Slovak and Polish men working for a couple of dollars a day. Some of them never went home. The papers barely printed their names, but their hands built every mile. Then came the big one. To reach downtown, the Wabash had to punch straight through Mount Washington, 3,000 feet of rock. Out of the tunnel's north portal, the railroad burst into daylight, high above the Monongahela River, and then it jumped. The Wabash Bridge was a cantilever giant, over 800 feet across its main span, landing right on the downtown shore. And where it landed, Gould built his statement piece, the Wabash Terminal, 11 stories of marble and grand arches, a palace. On June 19, 1904, the first passenger trains rolled in beneath that marble ceiling. Pittsburgh finally had a competitor. For a little while, it worked. You could board a train downtown and ride all the way to St. Louis. But the Wabash was an engineering triumph and a business disaster. All those tunnels and trestles made it brutally expensive to run. Worse, it went to Pittsburgh, but not through it. A 60-mile dead end. And the big mill's freight never strayed. In 1908, barely 4 years after opening day, the railroad went bankrupt. Gould's coast-to-coast dream died on these hills. Every family who bet on that railroad was betting on a future that never came. In 1946, the Grand Terminal caught fire. Twice. The marble concourse was gutted. In 1948, the Great Bridge came down, girder by girder, sold off for scrap metal. The piers were left standing for one simple reason. Pulling them out of the riverbed cost more than they were worth. The burned-out terminal fell in the 50s. Today, an office tower stands on that block. There is no plaque. And the tunnel? It's still there. Drivers use it every day, never knowing they're riding George Gould's bankrupt railroad. West of the city, buses glide along the old right-of-way. Every commuter is riding a dream that failed. The railroad ran passenger trains for just 4 years. But failure left more marks on this city than most successes ever do. Next time you cross the river, look for 2 piers holding up nothing, and see the future they carried.